Big Bear AI is down about 8% today, and that's exactly where opportunity can show up. In our daily live trading this morning, we just locked in some profits over on CTM stock. They were up another 10% today. So their portfolio is sitting about 17.79% higher on the day. If you guys ever want to catch those daily live trading sessions, see the moves in real time, tune in live using the second link in the description down below for stock meet. You also get a free t-shirt when you join. Now, when it comes to Big Bear AI, we've seen them pull down again about 8.9% down to the $6.30 price point. So if we take a step back, a couple things, obviously number one, they have the government shutdown working against them. That's an external flow of downward pressure on the defense markets, and most defense markets have sold off over the last week. The government shutdown is still looming, and it's not going anywhere right now. It's the longest government shutdown in our nation's history, and we can see that it's a record right now as the shutdown impacts millions. And we got 34 days right now and counting. Public sentiment is that we are not looking so good on this, and there's a lot of rising premiums and food assistance at risk. But nevertheless, government shutdowns are sometimes necessary, and we'll see how it plays out. I think it's going to be okay. When we're looking at the second reason why they got some pressure down here, it's got to be related to the financials. You see some financial pressure on the company, and we can look at the technicals here. One thing to note about the technicals, if you really take a look at Big Bear, it's really consolidated between the $6 price point and the $9 price point. And so when we're looking at the history of Big Bear, a lot of times it has bounced this $6 level up into this $8.50 range. And in fact, it did that in June, in July, and then in August. And then it sold off after their last earnings. And their earnings sold them back down to that $4 price point by September. Now, they have their earnings coming up, I think it's next Monday. And they've done the exact same thing leading up to these earnings. In fact, they've been consolidating between that $6 price point and that $9 price point. See them get up there in September, and then in October bouncing again, and then bouncing late October, and then today dropping down once again to that $6 price point. So this level here is notoriously a support for Big Bear AI, but there is some pressure here at that level. So what you want to watch is see that they're able to hold above that $6 level. If they can't hold the $6 level, then they're going to sell back down. Now, I'm anticipating that they hold this level. In fact, if they sell down past $6, I would sell my shorter term positions. Longer term positions, this is the level. If they sell down, it's about 10-20%. But in the longer term positions that we have around $2.80, that sell down to $5, something like that, it's totally fine. We're still up over 100% in the Schwab portfolio for this company in the long term. But when we're looking at the levels, just seeing that $6 support level right now, very key. And I see this dip as an opportunity to buy. So when I saw this morning, they're down 9% after we locked in some profits on CTM in our live session this morning. Big Bear AI, I saw BAIG sell down. And so this is kind of what we were in actually this morning, just bought this dip. So it was at $20 a share, the 2x of Big Bear. And it sold down from $20 down to $15 a share. And we bought here. So it sold down again, 2x of Big Bear. So that 9% sell down on Big Bear is an 18% sell down on BAIG. And then I just entered a small position on BAIG. I think we're around 4,000, maybe 5,000 bucks, about 250 shares, looking for a recovery back up here. If it's a half of that recovery, it's a 10% margin for profit. If it's back to where it previously was at market open, we're looking at a 20% recovery. Just see that RSI and the MACD just way oversold after this sell-off. I think it was a little bit of an overreaction as most of the impact on the markets this morning in the red at least seem to be, at least when we're looking at the smaller cap companies, a little more exaggerated. Some of the data center companies were off to a really good start this morning, and we saw IREN was up 10-15%, BITF was up, AMD was up, and the green, despite the green, we see that sell off with BBAI. So we ended up buying the dip. So we're going to see how that goes. Again, $15, 35-cent range, looking for it to get back up into that $17 to $20 range. Now, when it comes to Big Bear, though, again, we got to have tight risk because we see them down to this $6 price point. And when we look at the financials, they're still not seeing that revenue we want to see. Revenue's okay. It was improving in the quarters before. They were up 8% in revenue, and then into 2025, 5% in revenue, with net income being up 51%. Like, things were looking green. Then they came in with their last earnings. That's when they dipped down and recovered. And that's when things went negative because they had some goodwill impairment that they had, an accounting markdown, and some other accounting markdowns. So that's kind of the reason why. Now, was it actually that negative? I don't think so. I think this next quarter, it's going to look a lot better from the net income side. It's going to look a lot smaller, or they're going to narrow that down. It's going to look a lot healthier, I believe. And then the revenue, we'll have to see. They did get some contracts, and they did get more deployments of their very scan technology into the airports. We saw them in Nashville, Chicago, LAX when I just flew. I just got done sneezing because it's spring here in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. And I was leaving California where I live, and it was fall. And so when I was flying here, we saw Big Bear at the airports at LAX, and you could see them. I don't know if they're at SFO, or we were flying out of LAX because we were working with Robinhood on something in LA. But normally I fly out of Sacramento or SFO, and I don't think that they're at SFO, but there was some reports that I heard from some of you guys that said they were also deploying that facial scanner recognition software at SFO. But we know for sure, even before their announcements, but now that they've announced it, that they're at JFK, they're at LAX and Denver International Airport, and Nashville and Chicago and quite a few others, and Heathrow Airport. And so I've seen comments. If you guys see them in the airports, comment, because it really helps to see what you guys say. When I see comments, a lot of times we discover things early. So if you're at an airport and you see Big Bear, let us know. Balance sheet, you got total assets at 600 million. So their assets are up, liabilities are up just a tad. And overall, though, their liabilities are up 66%, and their liabilities are up just 28%. And then their cash and short-term investments have really surged up 440% over the last year. So those things look good. When we're looking at some of the projections for Big Bear AI, let's get a look from the AI. I think Claude has been a good one to use recently. Let's look at some of the announcements and how they're affecting the AI analysis and overall sentiment here. And also, I just want to take a look here. You see institutional buying kicking in. Overall, let's take a look at what it looks like. According to the Claude analysis, so this is one of the top AIs in the world. We could use OpenAI or Grok. According to AI, institutional investors have shown significant net buying for Big Bear, with 84 buys versus 16 sells. So institutions really doubling down. Then you got positive institutional interest. Okay, and then when we look at the insider holdings, let's see how those look. The insiders got 72 sells to 28 buys. So more sells actually on the insider side of things, and more buys on the institutional side. In fact, BlackRock has nearly doubled their position. Citadel basically doubled their position, and some other companies like Goldman Sachs have been increasing their positions, JP Morgan and others. You can see that there. So we see more investments from institutions, BlackRock and Vanguard, and then insiders not looking quite the same, slightly more profit taking on the insider side, just to consider that. Now, when we're looking at the projections, it's actually projecting red. It's probably mostly the indication here from the government shutdown. We kind of anticipated this here with Big Bear, but I think the sell down this morning, I think it's an opportunity. That's why I got in. Claude is fairly bearish on Big Bear, actually anticipating it to sell down even further. Let's see how it looks over the next year. It's actually a projection for Big Bear to be at around $10 a share, a 47% increase over the next year. But looking at some downward pressure, not in the next 6 months. 6 months looks green, 3 months looks green. But yeah, not even as far out as 1 month, according to the AI, considering the technicals, the fundamentals, looking at the charts, looking at all the data that we have here in the machine. We got SEC filings, we got government, Congress trading, and considering that with the AI, it's projected to be red in the near term, but green in the longer term. Now, kind of goes against a little bit of the trade that I'm in here. I think it's going to be more of a couple day long trade. That's how it looks for Big Bear. So again, tight risk on the short term, very important. And then long term, I'm seeing it as a good opportunity to potentially add to our position. As the defense market's going to see growth, especially in AI over the next few years, I think they're in a good spot. So this is very healthy. In fact, we were expecting something like this with a government shutdown. Just part of the game, and we'll continue to monitor it. And I appreciate you all. If you have any thoughts on it, definitely comment them down below. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing. As always, guys, if you want to join us in our daily live trading sessions, it's a link you get in your email about 15 minutes before market open. It's going to be the second link below if you want to tune in Monday through Friday, get our live sessions, see our entries, see our exits. We were trading CTM this morning. That one's been doing quite well. We made a profit this morning. And we have some other good positions in data centers, AI, quantum, defense, space tech. If that's you, you like those markets, you want to learn how to invest in them, and get a free t-shirt when you join. It's the second link in the description below. Appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.